I was used to be called the PJ King in my college days. I mean, I love cracking PJs.
Can we have a PJ? Which you are king of.
You've asked for it. You'll get a lot of it. Washington's wife went to Washington to see Washington's washerman washing Washington's clothes.
How you came across TiE?
Okay, so cheers to TiE.
Welcome to TiE Chandigarh Talks. So today we have a special episode and we on our guest, so we have a Madan Padaki. It is 12 midnight almost, and this morning he was Madan Padaki and now he is Dr. Madan Padaki. There is a story behind that. For last 12 hours what change has happened to his life. We will also talk about that. So now to start with Madan, I want to know who is Madan?
SK, thank you for having me on the show. I've never done a podcast at 12 midnight, so this is the first for me.
Okay.
And I think we're really going to enjoy it.
Never done podcast or never done?
Never done a podcast at 12 in the night.
At 12 in the night. Okay.
This is like, there used to be an old, set of songs that used to come on TV called Midnight Masala.
Okay.
This is like our Midnight Masala talk.
Okay. Any song coming in your mind?
No. But if I were to dedicate a song to entrepreneurs,
Okay.
for me, my favorite song is Kisi ke muskurahaton pe ho nisar.
Oh, Nasar.
Yeah, I think that to me is the true essence
Okay.
of an entrepreneur. And perhaps, now that you ask the question, who is the real Madan? I take a lot of inspiration from that song, because I think finally we are here. We are a speck in the cosmic sand. We think, hey, our lifetimes are great, but when you compare to billions of years, we are nobody. So for me, it's about living, laughing, loving, and ensure that you sleep a good night's sleep with a clear conscience.
Okay.
And who knows whether you're going to wake up the next day or not. So can you live your life like this is the last day on your on this planet Earth? Right? Have fun. Somebody told me beautifully that life is too serious to be taken seriously. Right? I think we end up taking a lot of stress over taking ourselves seriously and life too seriously. It's to be enjoyed and living that moment.
Okay.
That's what I try to do.
Okay. You continue living in this way, starting from? We go somewhere in flashback?
I'm not sure. I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2000. So it's been
2000.
almost 24 years. Over 24 years since I began my first startup. And I've always been, in a sense, I was used to be called the PJ King in my college days. I mean, I love cracking PJs. I love making the most inane jokes.
Okay.
For a long time, it looks like that. But I think I've been more possibly thinking on this journey the last 10 years, especially after I exited my company called Meritrack, which was my first venture.
Okay. When you sold that?
2011.
2011.
Yeah. I began in 2000. Manipal acquired all of Meritrack in 2011.
Okay.
And I moved out of Manipal in 2013. So it's been 10 years. I think when you work in the impact space, it impacts you in a very large way, right? When you work with youth, when you work with rural entrepreneurs, when you see their stories day in and day out, when you look through the pains and the sufferings they go through, and the opportunities and the challenges that one faces, all your troubles and problems melts away.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. But I think this is something, so we are talking about, that is Madan Padaki, that is professionally known to everyone, right? So I want to know more inside the personal also.
Yeah. No, the personal life is what has helped me on the...
Can we have a PJ? Which you are king of.
You've asked for it. You'll get a lot of it.
I just want one of it.
Right. So, one of my favorite trick questions for kids, not a PJ, but a trick question is, and let me ask you that question and see whether you get it right.
Okay.
And given that I'm just coming back from the East Coast, this is a good reference question. So, Washington's wife went to Washington to see Washington's washerman washing Washington's clothes. Okay. How many W's are there in all?
Something came to my mind is Nirma, washing powder Nirma. Washington, it's very difficult.
Okay, let me repeat it. Washington's wife went to Washington to see Washington's washerman washing Washington's clothes. How many W's are there in all?
How many W's? No, very difficult.
Actually, the answer is 0. Because my question is, how many W's are there in all? A-L-L. There are no W's in all.
So, I need a coffee, I think. So, please bring that one. So, after the PJ, I think, what's more? PJ, songs, we
songs,
came to know.
I love singing. Ours is a fairly musical family. My parents are musicians.
Oh.
My dad is the vice president of the Bangalore Gayan Samaja. My mom plays the veena. My wife sings. My son plays the veena and the guitar.
You also played any instrument?
I've tried my hand at a few instruments, but it's really...
I was recently came in touch with someone where I learned that the people who play either of these instruments have their very high concentration power.
Yes.
They can focus very well. And in some of the schools, this is used to be the, the classes or the lectures for those, so that they can actually increase on the concentration power. Is that true?
No, it's true. I think if you look at it, most of the physicists of the world, well-known physicists, were also phenomenal musicians. One of my personal mentors and a very dear friend was Dr. Rajaramana, the famous nuclear physicist of the country, who used to be the Minister of Defense as well.
Okay.
And Dr. Ramana was such a fine gentleman, one of the finest physicists, and he used to play the piano like a professional. Right? And he used to say that there's a lot of connection between science and music, and therefore, to an extension, the patterns that one sees and your entire visualization you do as a scientist. So I think so. And perhaps I probably move from one thing to another very fast. And therefore, I've never been able to get my hand at a musical instrument, but I love singing.
So I think if the families of musicians, I think you love singing. So
Yeah, and I think, as you said, it's a great stress buster.
Yes. In fact, I have never done that. My dad used to listen to the music. So when they used to work, even my son does that. But I don't know what the kind of music that they listen to.
Yeah.
So that always looks to me as a disturbing. I sometimes like the music, so I think that is very light and more of the instrumental, less of the lyrics.
Yeah.
So that you can play. So even in my car, so the music plays on very low volume, slow, smooth music, some flute or sometimes I also try to find this meditation music or veena.
Exactly.
So
music
that
therapy
helps.
is really a true one.
That's I have started realizing, I think, since few days. So when I have started exploring these areas, so after I actually came to know about how you came across TiE.
Okay, so cheers to TiE.
Cheers to TiE.
So it's interesting, SK. So when I turned an entrepreneur in 2000, hardly any networks in town. TiE had got started in Bangalore in 99, and our founding president was Nandan Nilekani.
Okay.
And I used to work in Nandan's team in Infosys in 97.
Okay.
So when I finished my MBA and got back to Bangalore, I think somewhere in 2001, somebody told me, hey, have you heard there's a network called TiE? I did not know anything about TiE. Somebody said they'll meet in this hotel or something every now and then. Why don't you come join?
Okay.
And I did land up in one of those TiE meetings. I still remember there were some 20, 30 of us, Nandan doing one talk about entrepreneurship, Infosys journey, right? We were hardly barely a handful of us.
Oh.
Right? Maybe some 20, 30.
That was in Bangalore.
That was in Bangalore.
Okay.
Right? So I stayed in touch with TiE. But my moment of truth, why I love TiE or any network like this, came in 2002 when Meritrack was going through some torrid times post 9/11. We were on the verge of a shutdown. We had no revenues in December of 2001. My investor had gone bust. We had an angel investor who was a farmer from Shimoga, a small town in North Karnataka, who had put money. He had gone bust.
Okay.
He had asked money back. And we had no revenues, no money. We had about 2 lakhs in the bank. My burn was about 3 lakhs.
Okay.
So 2002 Jan, we were almost clear that was khatam. Ho gaya abhi kahani.
Okay.
So I and three co-founders, we got together to say tomorrow we'll just announce it to the
Investors.
team that we had 15 people.
Okay.
We said, yaar ho gaya. If money comes back, we'll see. So that evening I was pretty glum, morose. I got an email about some TiE event. I said, chalo kuch kaam karne ka nahi hai. There's nothing else to be done. Let me go. Went to that meeting. I don't even remember what talk it was. But I was sitting next to this gentleman who during coffee break asked me, he looked at my face and said, so how's it going? Why are you looking so dull? That was the trigger. I just burst out my story. I said, we did a startup 1 year. Not happening. Maybe tomorrow we'll have to shut down. We are firing everybody. He said, come this side. All I did was put his hand on my shoulder. He said, hota hai yaar startup mein. Aisa hi hota hai. Why are you getting so worked up?
Okay.
Tell me your idea. So I told him. He said, idea to bahut acha dikhta hai. It looks like there'll be a lot of value. And he used to be the COO of a large BPO company.
Okay.
He says, next week aa jao, baat karenge. Let me help you. I didn't even know him. But that 5-minute conversation changed the whole perspective for me. I said, kitna khamuka kyun hum parishan ho rahe yaar? So called my partners and said, yaar, let us stick in yaar.
Okay.
Let's find a way to survive. Even if we have to go with no salaries with everybody, let's give them an option. So next day we called everybody and said, from now on, there's no salary.
Okay.
But you're all welcome to stay. Those who want to leave, please leave. We have no problems. You come back when we can afford you.
Okay.
We said, we'll give you half an hour. Whoever wants to leave, leave. Whoever wants to stay, stay. That was the longest half an hour of my life when we went and had coffee and said, will there be anybody in office? Or they would have all gone. All 15 were there in the office.
Oh, brilliant.
They said, sir, we don't need salaries. We'll figure out a way of working this together. All of us then worked our butts off.
And you haven't not yet met the CEO of that BPO.
No.
So that is just the decision.
Just 5 minutes of conversation.
Going to a TiE meeting.
Yeah.
And that's for the first time. And that 5-minute conversation, you decided not to quit.
Yes.
Perfect.
Because I realized that, see, entrepreneurial journeys are very lonely journeys.
Right.
You don't get to, and at least those days we were handful, hardly any one of us, right?
Yes.
So what I believe is all that entrepreneurs need is a bit of love and care and somebody to say, hum hai na yaar,
Hum hai na.
right? Why are you getting worried?
Yes.
We don't need to move mountains or do some big natak, right? If we are there for each other to say, boss, we got your back.
What need is a bit of love and conversation.
Yeah, what is needed is a bit of love, conversations, and a sense of camaraderie that we are all in it together, right? There's no competition.
Perfect.
If
So I think that's what TiE has taught all of us.
exactly,
I saw a lot of when this today's panel. So I see these people who have been, I think, working together as a part of this community and coming together and somewhere in the space, so they are competing with each other.
yes.
Also.
No, I think, see, competition is natural.
That's
but
natural.
the market is so huge,
Yes.
right? And the opportunity is so large. It is not that somebody else winning means somebody else losing. So to me, TiE is not a zero-sum game.
Yes. Yes.
It is, if we win, everybody wins.
Perfect.
If we lose, all of us lose.
All of us lose. Yes,
Right?
Yes. Okay. So that was the first encounter to the TiE. So now, how attending an TiE event and now becoming the president of a chapter.
Yeah.
So that is one of the largest chapter
Yeah.
of India, TiE Banglore. how that journey moved on and what brought you to that leadership.
So it was interesting. After this incident, I got so busy in building Merit Track that I had no time for coming in and out of TiE. I think I continued as an associate member.
Okay.
But 2007, when we raised, 2005, Merit Track raised money from HSBC, venture capital. Those days, large money.
Okay.
We had raised about $5 million then.
2007.
2005.
2005.
We had raised
$5
about $5 million from HSBC, which was a lot of money. We started scaling up, and 2007 we ended up acquiring a company of Merit Track of Manipal.
Okay.
And Manipal came on board as a strategic investor.
Okay.
And we got a part exit given for all investors. Manipal came on board as a strategic investor and ended up acquiring all of Merit Track in 2011.
Okay.
So when this exit happened, the TiE team pinged me back again
Okay.
to say, "Yaar, why don't you now become a charter member?"
Okay.
That is the qualification, right? That you completed one cycle. And one of my college seniors, super seniors, who was the legendary Pradeep Kar of Microland. Pradeep was the founder of microlandindia.com. Pradeep was the president.
Okay.
So I met Pradeep at some dinner. He said, "Yaar, TiE, aa jao. Next year we're doing a large event. I need your help."
Okay.
And this was TiECon in 2008,
Okay.
which was one of the largest events I've ever attended as TiECon. And Pradeep said, "Come help." So I said, "Chalo, karte." And that TiECon, participating in that TiECon event was mind-blowing. I still remember I was asked to be the guest speaker in charge for Mr. G.A.M.E. Premji.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I remember spending that hour with Mr. Premji, escorting him to the stage, and then being amongst all stalwarts. C.K. Prahlad was there,
Okay.
I remember. And that gave me so much of insights and high of being a part of the volunteer. I mean, I had just signed up as a charter member. That once the event got done, I was very charged up with TiECon. And when Pradeep said, "Next year, why don't you contest and come on to the board?" I accepted without batting an eyelid. So from 2008, I've been on the board of TiE Banglore.
Okay.
And I continued on till 2020 when I got elected as the president of TiE Banglore.
Oh my God. 12 years on the board.
On the board.
Of TiE Banglore.
Yeah.
And so once you became the president, and now you are bringing TiE Global Summit,
Yeah. Into
which we are talking about this special episode. So you are bringing it to
absolutely
India,
yeah
in the city,
yeah,
Bangalore.
yeah. No, I think the TiE journey made so many friends, learned so many lessons. I met the Heddle TiE co-founding team through TiE.
Oh,
So I owe a lot to TiE, and therefore
there are a lot of stories. I think in Chandigarh also, I heard a lot of stories from the people. So wherein they said they were on a business trip as a part of delegation, and once they came back, and then there is another business opportunity they are creating, and then taking it to the next level.
exactly.
Yes.
So somebody said beautifully that entrepreneurship is nothing but serendipity and conversations.
Yes.
Okay, you
Yes.
cannot. So TiE, in a way, engineers serendipity. In the sense, when you put 30 unknown people in a room and you start having a conversation, something is bound to emerge, right? And I think that's the beauty of networks like this.
Oh, yes. Truly, I think I have experienced this somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So about my journey, so how I encountered with TiE, we'll touch upon sometimes later. I watched a video of you, right? So now I know how you encounter in TiE and how you came into the leadership position. I watched a video of you. So before we are meeting, so I did some research. Right? I watched a video which was posted on YouTube 10 years ago. It was a TEDx talk.
TEDx talk, yeah.
And it was talking about entrepreneurship for our rural India.
Yeah.
So which I think still 80% of our population lives in
the
that
villages. Yeah.
villages. I have also watched that video, so I want you to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because 10 years back, what I could see, the vision aligned, and today also, so what you are doing. So there is a lot of alignment.
Totally. So let me give you the backstory, right? Merit Track was all a skills assessments company. Day in and day out, we used to test people. We have tested millions of people. all we used to do with the test was, hey, test le lo. Obviously, in any test, some people do well, some people do bad. The people who do well, we said, are employable. The people who didn't do well are unemployable. Right? So we put out India's first employability report. So in my worldview, the world was made up into two people. Those who are employable, those who are not employable. Takdiri, that's the way it is.
And there was no criteria, okay, how much education you have received on that?
No, it didn't matter.
Okay.
So when I stumbled onto my co-founders at Herald High, they were trying to figure out if I can set up a rural BPO. Right? And they came to me through the TiE network because I was working with talent on the BPO side. I said, boss, urban itself is struggling. Forget rural. Where will you find talent? Nobody is going to go from urban to rural. Right? Nobody will move from a Bangalore to a Raichur. So they said, why don't we train people in Raichur? I said, how? We are struggling to teach people English in Bangalore. You think guys in rural will learn English? And so one part of them said, why not? Let's try. So they went around the countryside in Karnataka trying to identify, and while we are at it, we said, let us take the most unemployable person on the face of this earth and see what happens. Right? And unemployable we defined as the most unemployable person as somebody who's 18 years of age, who's never been to school, no skills, works as a cowherd. Nobody in the family has ever been to school. We so much went to the extent of saying if this person has seen a train, forget getting onto one, he or she is not as underprivileged as it's supposed to be. So went around looking for kids like that and found hundreds and hundreds of them. But only about 8 of them were brave enough to come with us.
Yes.
Right? And when they came, all of them couldn't even, 6 of them were totally unschooled. They could not even recognize a letter of English. Right? And through a 6-month process, I saw them transform through a very structured process into confident youngsters who can speak English in front of an audience. No grammar, but they could speak with a lot of confidence. That meeting I was traveling quite a lot during that time when I came back and met all 8 of them at one of those 6th or the 7th month. That 4 hours changed my life. Because I realized that how wrong we are to judge people and say, you are employable, you are not, you are kabil, you are not. Everybody has that immense potential. It is only that many don't get that platform to express themselves. I think Dr. Mohammed Yunus, whom we met subsequently, told something very beautiful. He said, a lot of us die without knowing what treasures lie within.
Yes.
Right? I think there are immense treasures in everybody. And that got me hooked onto the Herald High.
And probably knowing that what treasure line inside you, so that can gives you the goal for your life.
Exact. Otherwise, we keep thinking, I'm poor, I don't know, I will never know,
Yes.
and I'll die like that. But the moment you are to tell people, boss, you are powerful, you are confident, you will make it happen, it improves their own self-esteem and the treasures come out.
Yes.
So at Herald Eye, we've seen this happen not over 1, 10, 100. We've seen this happen over thousands of people. We have transformed about 25, 30,000 people so far. And we've seen this magic happen every time. So my belief, when I started out on this journey, and that's what made me quit Manipal and said, boss, if this is the amount of power that resides in people,
and we are not
using that,
yes,
then what a waste of our own energies.
Yes.
So the last 10 years has been that. And there to your other point, SK, is that, see, India is already producing 10 to 12 million youth every year who are entering the workforce. The next 12 to 14 years, 15 years, we'll have 150 million such youth entering the workforce. Everybody wants a job. Aspiration levels are high. But formal jobs are only 10% of the economy. So in that 150 million, only 15 or 20 million people will get jobs. What happens to the remaining 120, 130 million people? You can't say, oh yeah, just go do some daily coolie labor or just work on your farm. Somehow we will, or I'll give you Manrega money. They will not take it.
Do you see, so probably another question coming to my mind, because I also used to have conversation with my HR also. I don't want to name, but I think the most premium institutes in the country, so what we call is the engineering institutes, are in these days don't have the 100% placement, right? And we a small company, not a very big, large organizations, have been trying to find some good candidates
Correct.
from there also, right? Do you think that going to a bigger institute, going to a branded institute, so sets your expectations really high? That is also the reason for education, giving the education that's actually making you an unemployable. Do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination of skills and aspirations. See, the moment you pay high fees
Yes.
and go to a higher ranked institute,
Yes.
your aspirations are here
Aspirations are high. Yes.
and your expectations are there.
Yes.
But let's say your skills are here,
Yes.
you won't get a job.
Right.
But when you go to a lower end college, the hunger is very high,
Hunger is very high.
but
Yes.
the skills are almost there. But their expectations are somehow get me a job, I'll take it.
So there was a story listening to very premium institutes. So someone actually narrated me that story. So they went to this very premium institute of engineering, and there was the topper candidate. So who was there? So it was a conversation between them, and they were talking about, okay, they were asking about that from where you actually took this competitive exam training, which institute you went to. He said, I haven't went to. Okay, where you studied then? They said ki I studied only in my school. Okay, which school? This is so and so government schools. And where is this village is lying? Not even you can find that on the map.
Correct.
He said, only thing that has been taught to me is the concentration and the focus.
Exactly.
And there is a hunger in the belly. So that is bringing you somewhere where
Exactly.
you want to reach.
So we've seen that in every youth we have encountered. There is a hunger, there's that need and that grit to prove that, yes, I can do it. But it requires somebody to say, hum tere saath hai.
Exactly.
Exactly why I told that TiE. See, if imagine SK, if you're a school dropout kid who's 18 years of age, who also comes from the lowest caste of the society. For 18 years, all you've been told is, you're an idiot, your life is like this, you'll never do well, your father was like this, your grandfather was like this, your son also will be like this. If you're exposed to that every day, you will feel that, boss, I'm just a piece of shit. Right? But all it requires is somebody to put a hand on the shoulder and say, yeah, you have treasures inside.
Yes.
Believe in yourself.
So I think then that reminds me of Einstein's story, where his mother, actually kept that note inside a drawer. We can't teach your son.
Yeah.
And so probably she never told that to her son.
Exactly.
And her mother told him that this school is
Not fit for
you because you are like over
beyond.
Beyond.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that is what is required as self-esteem.
Right. So, okay, go deep into the education. So, we come back to the entrepreneurship. Okay. When we were unveiling TGS today in TiE Chandigarh, so you talked about social entrepreneurship. And so there was a topic, okay, what is not social entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
So, my belief, SK, after having been called a social entrepreneur now for 10 years, is that I think social entrepreneurship should be defined more by what it is not than what it is. So, I believe that in the world, there's nothing called as entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. I think it should be cleaved into entrepreneurship and anti-social entrepreneurship. I believe that every enterprise must have social good at its core. Right? Now, the enterprise can define any social good. But once the social good is defined, then you have to behave like an enterprise. You have to deliver value. You have to make sure that your costs are lesser than the money you're earning, and you have to churn out a profit. And this concept is not new, right? When Jamshedji Tata started Tatas in 175, 180 years ago, he himself has said that we exist for the community, right? Any profits or any progress we make has to get the progress of the community going. Right? And that ethos still is retained. 100 years ago, this statement was made by an entrepreneur in capitalist America. And this entrepreneur said, a business that is only in the business of making money is a poor business. He says the objective of business is not to just make money, it's to improve lives of people. And this was Henry Ford.
Yes.
in 1920.
Mhm.
So somewhere along the way, I think we've lost the distinction to say a business has to exist only to make money. A business must make money, but while making money, it must deliver social value.
Yes. So then it could be maybe I think you are generating the jobs for let's
You
say
could be generating
100 people.
jobs, you could be exactly.
So those 100 families are getting feed, and then
Exactly.
probably there are others, right?
So I'll give you an example, and this was fascinating. We were in a program where I met a manager, a senior manager of a large company.
Mm-hmm.
It is only a mindset change, right? So we were doing a program on social entrepreneurship and social responsibility. And this guy got the news that he's been promoted to a next level where he takes care of another factory of 2,000 people. That afternoon, he was sharing with me that, sir, if this had happened to me 2 days ago, I would have been thinking, oh, I'll get higher salary, I'll get a better car, I'll get a bigger office, I'll get a larger house allowance. He says, all that is there. But now I'm thinking I'm fortunate to be given the responsibility to take care of 2,000 more families in that factory, right? I'm privileged to be given that responsibility to shape the lives.
Right.
Same role, same job, but two different perspectives.
If any entrepreneurship, if it is not social entrepreneurship, it is not entrepreneurship.
It's not meaningful.
It's not meaningful.
Yeah.
And there was a word came in anti-social.
Yeah.
Do you think it is
So I think any entrepreneur who's not thinking of social good is an anti-social entrepreneur.
anti-social? Right. Okay. So let me tell every one of you. So I met Madan for the first time in January this year. So we were on a same TiE retreat that happened first time in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, yeah.
Right.
Early this year, it seems like a long time.
Right. So Madan, I think let me tell you, that was the first time we met you on the beach, and you were actually taking that holy dip into the water, right? So we were just roaming around the beach. I found something because there is something still inside Madan, so which I don't know yet. So I will just come to that. But before that, so let's talk about the TGS now. I heard the first version of TGS from there in the morning, just before the breakfast. So we were just
Yeah.
sitting around that open area, and then I heard because I have attended last two TiE global summits. So the last was in Hyderabad and Singapore, and since so from past 2 years, the same year, so we are also I'm a part of the team managing TiECon, which is happening in TiE Chandigarh. So we know how are the budgets planned and all that. So when the first time I heard the budget from your mouth, okay, this is going to be a TiECons and this is going to be a 30-40 crore budget. What I was thinking of, यार ये क्या बात कर रहे हैं? I'm meeting him the first time, ऐसे ही कुछ बात कर रहे हैं, तो अभी 30 है तो कुछ और हो जाएगा, चेंज हो जाएगा. But the second time when I listened in Japan, so we met again, and in between थोड़ी बात हुई होगी. We spoke about, I think, on the first time on the TiECon 24, which happened in Chandigarh.
Correct.
The first time launched that, right?
Yeah.
And that I saw their first version, then Chandigarh version, then I watched that in Japan. And then I think recently I was in Chennai also, so where I have another fourth version. Today evening, so when we unveiled this in TiE Chandigarh again, so this was the another version. Every version I'm seeing is improving. Now I'm getting convinced that if it is going to happen in Asia's largest center, convention center, and I can imagine that. Can we narrate that version of TGS when we are actually going through this? I want to close my eyes and just listen to that version, and our audience can also just imagine that.
Super. No, I mean, let's do that visualization.
Yes.
But see, I think it is like the peeling of the onion. Every layer you peel, there's another layer.
But yes, it is the visualization that has to be
Yes,
done. So
yes.
that visualization I want to do.
Super. So let's do this visualization.
Yes.
TGS is, so let's close our eyes.
Yeah, perfect.
It starts on the 9th of December. You will check into the hotel. There are lots of masterclasses happening around the city. Masterclasses in AI, masterclasses in sales, masterclasses in Bharatnomics, variety of masterclasses. You will choose to go to one of those. You will have registered. You will go to one of those masterclasses, which will help you to understand what's happening around. And that evening, there's a gala dinner, which we want to host to all the global delegates in the beautiful backdrop of the Bangalore Palace grounds. It'll be a lovely lawn, a lot of people to be met, a lot of free-flowing conversations on how together we can put entrepreneurship first. We also want to make this a very green entrepreneurship conclave. You will go back to the hotel. We will have the metro line coming right to the doorstep of this convention center. Take the metro, get out of the place, walk into this large convention center. You will see a lot of stalls, a lot of energy, a lot of young people, excitement. It is truly the Olympics of entrepreneurship. You will also see a lot of rural youngsters, youth from various colleges and schools which have come so that they can experience what being an entrepreneur is. You'll meet a lot of inspiring women entrepreneurs. There will be talks by leading luminaries in the world on what the future is likely to be. We will have you participate in a lot of mentoring sessions, investor sessions, where you'll be sharing your perspective with the TGS 100 curated list of startups. You'll enjoy an evening of a Karnataka cuisine dinner. Then we will go on a city crawl the next evening where you will meet with a bunch of friends. It's a massive, gigantic networking evening in the city, in the heart of the city. And then we'll all go to Mysore in buses and trains to enjoy and understand cultural entrepreneurship at its best. And we will end that evening with a gala global awards at the Mysore Palace, hosted by the Maharaja of Mysore and several other dignitaries. The whole idea for us to curate TGS is to ensure that all of us put entrepreneurship first, either as policymakers or as ecosystem actors who will support entrepreneurship at the grassroots, and where we will enable every youth to become an entrepreneur on their own power and might over a period of time, so that we can build a nation and a world that is driven by entrepreneurship as a force for good. Any longer, both of us would have slept off.
But can you imagine? I have been to Bangalore. So we were on a leisure trip with my family. We stayed in Bangalore, went to Mysore. I could imagine all those. And believe it, all these versions, what I have seen over these 8-9 months have improved,
Yeah.
and lot of visibility has come up in each and every step.
Yes. No, there's a lot of work happening on each of these.
So the conviction that was there, not coming. Second, some confidence, and now I'm going to be, I think, very confident that this is going to be one of the largest global summits so far. And that is, I think, I'm happy that is happening in India.
Fantastic. No, SK, and I think it is all of us together who will make it happen.
Yes.
I don't think it's one chapter or one group of people. It is the Olympics of entrepreneurship. All the chapters, the power of TiE Global chapters is amazing. We have 62 chapters across 15 countries, all of us coming together and making this happen. I think the power of that network, and today what we saw in the evening happen, was the power of this network coming together.
And I think we were talking of if there could be 10 interest at least.
Yeah.
And there were more than 30 people interest. So who are interested in going to TiE Global Summit Bangalore? Who are interested in some partnering opportunities there?
Exactly.
Who are interested in applying for TGS 100? Who are interested in exhibiting in some of the area? Who are interested in some of the master classes? And lot of them would also be interested in going to the Mysore.
Exactly.
And I think day one, telling you that when you told na this is going to be 5 days long event, I said कि एक दिन manage करना मुश्किल हो जाता है, how it will happen. But now believe it,
Yeah.
this looks very much feasible.
Yeah.
The kind of efforts we are seeing
Yeah.
the team is putting on.
Yeah.
And we are talking on this, I think, from past 1 month.
Yeah.
So how we can do,
Yeah.
what we can do. I think at our TiE Chandigarh level, we are also trying to involve as many people as much as possible.
Wonderful. No, and we're seeing the same phenomenal amount of support from everywhere else in the world. TiE Chandigarh, of course, you guys have taken it to another level today with the event. But we're seeing a huge galvanization of all the chapters and a lot of charter members.
And I'm seeing that, I think, this morning. I think yesterday evening you had your dinner in Delhi. Before that, I think you were having your lunch in the flight.
Yes.
And I think before that, your previous breakfast was in New York.
New York, yeah.
And the morning breakfast was in flight. And your lunch was in Rajpura.
Yeah.
So where this conversion happens now, Madan Padaki's Dr. Madan Padaki has been awarded with doctorate degree by a university here in Punjab. And today, after the lunch, I think at Rajpura, you had a dinner at Chandigarh.
Yes.
From where you bring this energy?
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to say boost is the secret of my energy.
No. That's not right.
No, I think
I can say TiE is the reason
now,
of your energy.
TiE is the reason of my energy now, right? We can all say cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
No, but seriously, it is that. One of the things I like to believe, right? It's not factually true, perhaps, that the word entrepreneur, the root word for entrepreneur is antarprerana.
Entrepreneur, yes.
Right? And I think from antarprerana is where all energy comes. If you're motivated and driven internally, you don't need any external manifestations.
Yes.
Right? For me, the purpose that drives me is very important. I literally spent many days, weeks trying to define the purpose of my life about 7-8 years ago. And I wrote it down. It happened during a process at Sabarmati Ashram run by a very dear friend of mine. It was fascinating. And I live by that purpose every day. As long as I'm pursuing that purpose, I have energy. There is some divine force that propels me. Two, I think to have that energy, you need to let go of the ego. You need to let go of the belief that I am doing everything. I'm not doing anything. There's some divine force that is propelling me, right? And in that process, if you can, it's hard to do, I'm trying, but if you can embrace Karma Yoga, that just do your damn best. Don't worry about results. I'm sitting here planning for TGS. Who knows what will happen in 2024 December, right? But I'm having fun in that process. We're cooking up stuff. Things may happen, things may not happen. Right? Stop even believing that that's in your control. Enjoy the process. And lastly, stay in that zone of equanimity. There are highs. You mentioned that I got a doctorate this morning. I'm sure day after morning, I'll be struggling to pay salaries for my team. There's a high, there's a low. Life is all highs and lows. But if you can stay in that balanced state to say, yeah, this too shall pass. And finally, believe that I think for entrepreneurs to succeed, that inner entrepreneur is also a very spiritual power. And you got to believe in some power much greater and much infinite than yourself. I think it's a combination of all of these things.
I completely agree with you, and I can resonate that vibe so that I'm getting now. So the energy that is coming from. In fact, even I think the story, so I think second or third time I have heard this story. If I think you can see that this logo, I think this logo is, so which is created for TiE Global Summit, has a huge power into it.
Exactly.
So Ekam,
yeah,
and then the one
flame.
of the element, the flame, fire.
The fire.
So being combined into one.
Exactly.
So this is something like the power.
And this was something that I was visualizing for a long time, saying we have to ignite that spark. and we have to do it together as one. If we divide, it won't happen.
Right.
So that ekatvam is very important.
Ekvatvam, fire. So that is bringing in
The
you,
energy.
inside you, that energy.
Yeah,
So that is bringing the entrepreneurship. And first is also the sign of Ekam.
exactly.
So putting
Exactly.
entrepreneurship first.
Yes.
That is the final say for that
Yeah.
TiE Global Summit, so
Yeah.
which is happening in Bangalore, 2024. And with that note, I think I want to say and all the best from whole TiE Chandigarh and all TiE fraternity, from all our members and the team,
Yeah,
and wishing you a great success.
fantastic.
And
Wishing all of us a great success. Wishing
yes,
that.
yes, it is all that 62 chapters who
Yeah.
are putting and coming and putting energy into it.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for being, I think, spending so much long time with us. And I think I feeling sleepy now.
Yeah. Now you really charged me up. We can do another podcast if required, but it's fun. Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
was truly delightful spending the day with you guys, and look forward to doing a lot of fun together.
And in fact, this might be your first podcast in the night. This is my first podcast.
Wonderful. Yeah? You're doing it like a pro.
Thank you. Thank
Amazing.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.